Hey everyone, welcome. Today, we're going to crack the code on a universal language, music. We're going to break down all those dots and lines on the page and turn them into something you can actually understand. So, let's jump right in.
Okay, so have you ever stared at a page of sheet music and just thought, what is this secret code? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. It can look incredibly complicated, but trust me, in just the next few minutes, you're going to have the fundamental keys to unlock this whole thing.
So first things first, let's talk about pitch. All it really is how high or how low a musical sound is. Super simple. Every one of those little oval-shaped symbols you see on the page, which, we call notes, represents a very specific pitch. And if you want to get just a little bit sciencey for a sec, a higher-pitched note has a sound wave with a higher frequency. That means the waves are all bunched up and close together. And a lower note? Well, it has a lower frequency, with waves that are more spread out. It's all connected.
Okay, so we have these notes. Where do they go? How do we know their pitch? Well, they live on this framework that's kind of like a musical ladder, and it's called the staff.
And here it is. Check it out. The staff is just a set of 5 horizontal lines and the 4 spaces in between them. Think of it as the canvas for our music. And here's a key rule. We always count the lines and spaces from the bottom to the top.
And honestly, the logic here is super intuitive. It's exactly like climbing a ladder. The higher you put a note on the staff, the higher its pitch is going to be. That's it. See? Simple.
Okay, but hold on a second. How do we know which note is which? I mean, those lines and spaces don't have any names. Yet. To give them their names, we need a secret decoder key right at the very beginning of the staff. And that key is called a clef.
Now, there are 2 main clefs we're going to look at today. You've got the treble clef, which is for all the higher pitch stuff. We're talking flutes, violins, the right hand on a piano. And then you've got the bass clef for that lower range, cellos, bass guitars, or the left hand on the piano.
All right, let's dive into the one you've probably seen everywhere, the treble clef. And I'm going to show you a couple of really easy tricks to read it in no time.
So this symbol is also called the G clef, and its design gives us a huge clue. See that big, beautiful curl? Look how it wraps perfectly around that second line from the bottom. That's no accident. That's telling you that any note on that specific line is the note G. Boom, that's our anchor point. Okay, so how do we figure out the rest? Well, there are 2 super simple tricks. Let's start with the 4 spaces. If you read from the bottom up, the notes in those spaces actually spell out a really familiar word. You got it, F-A-C-E. It spells face. So if you see a note sitting in a space, you just think face from the bottom up, and you'll know exactly what it is. How easy is that?
All right, what about the 5 lines? For those, we use a classic mnemonic device, just a little phrase to help us remember the order.
Every good boy does fine. The first letter of each word gives you the name of the note on each line. Again, starting from the bottom. E, G, B, D, F. Between face for the spaces and this phrase for the lines, you can now name literally any note in the treble clef. Pretty cool, right?
Okay, you're doing great. Let's tackle the bass clef now. The exact same ideas apply here. And yep, don't worry, it has its own set of easy tricks.
So just like our G clef, the bass clef has another name, the F clef. And again, the design gives it all away. Look closely at those 2 little dots. They are hugging the 4th line from the bottom. And that tells us that line is the note F. So, for the spaces in the bass clef, we've got another handy little phrase. The notes, again, from the bottom up are A, C, E, and G. And to remember them, just think of this.
All cows eat grass. I know, it's a little silly, but hey, works. It makes it super easy to remember A, C, E, G for the spaces.
Okay, last one for the bass clef, the lines. From the bottom up, we have G, B, D, F, and A. And the phrase we use for this one is,
Good boys do fine always. It's really similar to the treble clef one, which actually helps you remember it. And just like that, you can now read notes on the bass clef too.
Okay, so we've got the high notes covered with the treble clef and the low notes with the bass clef. But how do they actually, work together? This is where it all comes together in the big picture.
So when you take a treble staff and a bass staff and join them together with that brace on the left, you get what we call the grand staff. This is the whole shebang. It's what pianists and organists read from because they need to play a huge range of notes with both hands at the same time. And the million-dollar question, what's the glue that holds this whole system together? It's one single, super important note,
middle C. See how it's just floating there on its own little line? That little line is called a ledger line, and middle C is the perfect bridge between these two worlds. It connects the treble and the bass staves into one continuous ladder of sound.
And there you have it. You've actually done it. You now have the tools to look at a piece of music and actually name the notes. You've decoded the dots. But that raises a whole new question, doesn't it? Once you know which note to play, how long do you hold it for? Well, that's the next part of the secret code, and a story for another day.